to the show, everyone. This is episode 246, and we have a very special guest in with us today. It's been a long time since we had a Trailer Park Boys cast member on with us, and this is a guy I've wanted to talk to for a long time. He's been in it since day one. It is the amazing George Green. George, welcome to Major's Mess Hall.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know about amazing, but it's good to be here.
Oh, you are. Your character has been like the journey that he's gone on from being this I mean, he's always been quite corrupt, but like he was a relatively like decent police officer to start with, and then to watch his journey, he's probably changed the most out of every character on the show. When you think about it, there's like he's not consistent with how he is. Every season, he's a little bit more corrupt, and I just love him to bits. He's so good, and I just think he's the perfect sort of bad guy for the boys. So he's definitely amazing.
Well, I am, I guess, somewhat easily influenced by the dark side now and then.
Yeah. Definitely. Okay, so like where did it all start for you as an actor? Like where did you first begin with that?
Oh my God.
Going way
Uh,
back.
you're talking when I was living in Ontario, when I was in Toronto,
Okay.
and actually even before that, I attended university in North Bay in Sudbury, Ontario, and it was a very, very small. It was actually a university college, and there was no theater group at all. Now, I never did any theater or film or anything through high school or anything like that, but I got interested. I mean, I was out of high school. I was in the workforce a bit, and I needed something else to do. And then I decided to return to university. And when I did, I hooked up with a group of people, and we were all interested in live theater and such. But there was no theater group or troupe or anything at this school because it was simply too small. So we decided, you know what, we're it. Let's do it. So
Yeah.
we got the rights to a couple of plays through French's, I think, is the company. But anyway, we put on a couple of live performances, and we had a lot of fun. Um, and then I figured that's it, we're done after university and all that. Then I moved to Toronto, and I was doing other work there, just regular working Joe. And I started looking in the newspapers, and and we're talking a long time ago. We're talking actual newspapers, and the classified ads, and I'd scan them and see what things might be going on. And there were advertisements, these little advertisements for extras or background performers, as we call them now, right?
Yeah.
And I would answer some of these ads, and I answered one, and they said, "Sure, come on down. We're filming down on the waterfront. I don't know, a couple of days from wherever." And I said, we'll pay you, like, I think it was $4 an hour, and you get $4 an hour and a stale sandwich and a warm Coke. And you're basically just, like, your background. You have no lines, nothing like that. And
Yeah.
and I remember it because it's an old movie now with Chris Christopherson and Cheryl Ladd, and
Okay.
it was called Millennium. And I got to meet both of them, even though I was background. But of course, I was probably too stupid to realize you don't just walk up to the stars and say, "Hi, how are you?" But they didn't throw me off or anything like that. And my recollection, Chris Christopherson, he was very nice fellow.
Yeah.
And so I did 1 or 2 days of it or something like that. I was a passenger on an aircraft, and I was going to die. Well, fine, whatever, right? And and I went home afterwards, and I thought, well, that was kind of fun. So I just kept doing it. I kept little advertisements in the back pages and stuff, um, and then I actually tried to find an agent of sorts, and yeah, I ended up with a casting director or agency that basically just did background stuff, but they had the odd principal or actor role. I still remember going in to a to audition for a commercial, and oh my God, I was so out of my depth. It was unbelievable. All these like, they were professional actors there. They were on the audition track, and they were going to everything and that. And and I just sat there and I thought, well, I'm lost. And I tried it anyway, but no, no way, right?
It's all experience though.
Well, sure it is, but anyway, as time goes on, I enjoyed it. I had fun. And I really enjoyed it. And I still, to this day, I enjoy just being on set. I don't need to have a bunch of lines or anything like that.
Yeah.
Uh, I just like the process, and I like seeing how people work and operate. I mean, over the years, I've done crew work. I've done just about anything because I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Now, when I moved from Toronto, when I left, I forgot about it. Right? I just said, okay, well, that's that. New life, new place. But sure enough, I saw this little advertisement in the back of a newspaper again, and it was for a car commercial. And I thought, why not? I mean, no union membership or anything at this point for me. Nothing like that at all. And I went in and I got it. And it was $100. It was for a car commercial, actually, for a dealership over in Newfoundland. And again, I had fun. I was surprised I got the thing, but non-union, $100 for the day and everything like that. I did well enough that they had me do it. But from there, I thought, okay, I'm going to start watching the papers again. And
Yeah.
in Nova Scotia at that time, uh, you remember John Dunsworth, of course. Most people
Yeah.
do, at least if they're from around here. He had a little agency called Filmworks that he was just getting off the ground. And the industry, in terms of film at least, television was sort of established, but it was kind of getting off the ground. And so crews were starting to develop their chops. So a lot of the directors, a lot of cinematographers, everyone, gaffers, everything, and crews started gelling, and the industry was growing, and at the time, TV shows like Lex were being made and such. So there were opportunities. So I started doing more background stuff and more background stuff. And eventually, I can't remember what it would be now, but, let me put it this way. At that time, ACTRA would pretty much sell you a membership because
Okay.
they needed people. And that's not a bad thing. You have to grow the
Yeah.
industry somehow, right?
Of course. Yeah.
Uh, I didn't do that. I just thought, I'll keep trying here. Maybe I'll get a line here and there. And eventually I did. And that got me the invitation to join ACTRA. You still have to pay your dues and everything, but other people were doing the same. And an agent, she's no longer an agent, but she was at the time, Lara Cassidy, was on set when I was doing background on Lex one day, and said, would you like representation and such? And I didn't really know a lot about that, but I said, well, I'll think about it. It took me a year to think about it. Maybe that's a reflection of my cop character too, right? It takes me a while to figure it out. But I eventually did, and and I just started getting little bit things here and there, the odd television commercial, even if it was no dialogue, but you keep getting exposure. And what I did a lot of is I watched people on the set. That's what I would do. I would watch the professional actors and such, and I learned not to not to interrupt them. Um, when there was an opportunity and it was safe and not bothering them, I would ask questions. I'd say, so what are you how are you doing this? How are you creating your character or this and that? And I was like a sponge, right? I just soak it all in.
Yeah.
And that's just what you said earlier. You need experience, you need practice, and I kept trying, kept trying, and yeah, I was having a lot of fun. So that's the
That's
start.
awesome.
I mean, living in Nova Scotia here, and then eventually other opportunities came along. I remember doing a thing for when the first Men in Black movie came out. They
Oh yeah.
needed a couple of actors to go around the city, and you know the public would have to identify the Men in Black. So we were dressed in the character, and if they identified us, we'd give them free movie tickets, right?
Ah, okay. Yeah.
And I mean, we were swarmed a couple of times. The other actor and I was just like, it was ridiculous. I was the Tommy Lee Jones character, obviously, and we had a Will Smith character. And I wish I could remember the actor's name, but I honestly can't. We had fun though. We were up there for about a week, and and we were swarmed at times. It was almost scary. But limited number of tickets, and we learned really quick. That's all we got, guys. We got to go. Because it was getting a little claustrophobic. But those are the kinds of things. Like again, that was sort of what you'd call a contra deal. Uh,
Yeah.
I wasn't paid for it. Neither was the other actor. We were offered free movie tickets, like $100 worth of movie tickets, and back then movies were $5. Sign me up. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll do that, no problem, right? Um, and then skipping over some of the other stuff, really, because it's not that important. I like you said, I just practice, 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 and then my agent Lara, her sister was the girlfriend of Mike Clattenburg, Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah.
Now they initially did that black and white movie on a credit card for
Oh
$5
yeah.
or something,
Yeah. So
and
old.
there was no bubbles in that, right?
Yeah.
It was just the two main guys, Julian and Ricky, and it was much darker. I mean, these guys were drug dealers and pet assassins, if you can believe
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Right?
Killing people's dogs and stuff.
Yeah, like, the neighbor's dog bugging you. Call us up. We'll take care of that for you.
It's a funny concept.
Well, it worked. But Lara called me up one day, and it was in the summertime, and she says, "Look, my future brother-in-law is doing this thing," and da da da. I said, "Yeah, okay, fine." Well, they need people, and I went, "Okay." So it's just like background. They go, "Well, there's a scene that's going to be on Argyle Street, and they just need pedestrians and passersby, and these two characters are going to come out, and they're going to be firing a fake gun or whatever, and you just have to act scared or hide behind stuff." And I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll do that." And she goes, "Well, it's tomorrow, and it's going to be 35 Celsius out and blisteringly hot. Like, are you sure?" And I went, "Well, I don't know. I'd probably rather be at the beach, but no, I'll help you out." She goes, "Well, we'll give you a sandwich and a pop." And right then, it took me right back to that Millennium movie where that's what I got: a stale sandwich, a warm Coke in a church hall basement with the like it was like a Legion hall, but it was down in a damp old basement, and you could smell the must and everything like that. But again, we had
Oh
fun,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So these conditions were a little better, and the Coke was actually cold, and the sandwich was pretty good. So I said, "No, I'll do it, Larry. I'll sign up. That's fine." So we did it, and we had fun. We had fun, right? And then after that, I just forgot about it basically. Um, but then a little while later, she calls me up and she goes, "Well, I have an audition for you." And I went, "Okay. What is it?" She goes, "Well, do you remember that little thing you did on Argyle Street there for Mike Clattenburg and that?" And I go, "Well, that was about a year ago now, but yeah, I remember it." He goes, "Well, he wants to bring you in for the cop." And I thought, sure. And it was a one day. It's a 1 day gig, one episode. That's all it was supposed to be. And I went in, and the boys had rented a classroom in a government tax building on Hollis Street. So I went up and I thought, and there's Rob Wells and there's JP, and the boys were a lot bigger than me. I'm probably 30, 40 pounds heavier now than I was, but no, it's like 6'1", 6'2", whatever. Julian with the guns going right,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they're standing at the front of the classroom with a blackboard, and I look at them and it's like, okay. And they introduced themselves and everything, pretty laid back. But I don't even think I got to meet them when we did the black and white movie thing. It was just in and out, gone, right?
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, okay." They go, so are you ready? Like, you know what you're doing? And I said, "Well, kind of, yeah." I go, "How about your lines?" And then I go, "No, I got the lines pretty good." And then they just looked at me and said, "Okay, throw that crap out. Arrest us." And I'm like, "Holy Jesus." I'm standing there, and in my mind, it's not racing, but it's going, all right, it's choice time. It's decision time. Now, this is either going to go really well or it's going to go really, really bad. And I looked at these two guys and they're like, "Arrest me," right? And they both have 30, 40 pounds on me, and they're younger and everything. I'm thinking either one of them could probably just break me over their knee. So, but I thought, oh, we can have fun. So I asked the question, and I said, "What are you boys comfortable with?" I still remember saying that. And they looked at each other and they're laughing. And I mean, I had no idea what kind of sense of humor they had at that time. I just met them and everything, right? And I said, "Well, what are you comfortable with? How far can we go with this? What can we do?" And Ricky said the magic words, right? Rob, he goes, "Whatever you want, bud." That's magic, right?
Yeah.
And I'm still thinking, all right, this is either going to go well or this is going to suck large, and I'm going to be, it'll be don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Uh, and I just took 2 steps forward as soon as he said that. I didn't wait for anything else. I took 2 steps forward, and I kind of hit Ricky in the shoulder, Rob, and spun him around and put his face into the blackboard. And I looked, and Julian's like, JP's standing there with the pretend drink, right? And he's looking, and goes, "Holy shit." And I looked at him, and I did the finger thing, the finger gun. And I pointed at his kneecap, and I went, "Move, and I'll blast your kneecap off, asshole." Just like that, right? And JP's going, "Holy," like, and I just stepped back and I said, "Oh, that's all I got, boys." That's, and they're laughing. They're going, "Well, that's great. That's wonderful." I go, "Okay, thanks." They go, "Well, we'll let you know. We have a bunch of other people we need to see," right? And I went, "Yeah, I understand. It's all good." So Lara Cassidy's office was only a couple of blocks up on Sackville Street from this government building. And I thought, well, I don't get down here that often and I don't get to see her that often. So maybe I'll just pop in, say hi. So I did. I went up and, "Hey, Lara, how you doing?" She goes, "Oh, good, George, good." And I went, "Okay." I go, "I finished the audition." She goes, "Yeah, yeah." I go, "I think it went okay." She goes, "Yeah, I think, yeah, it probably did." I go, "Yes, well, guess we'll just hope." And she was a good straight man, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And then she turned, she goes, "Yeah, it went really well. You got the part." And I went, "What?"
Wow.
They had other people to see, right? And she goes, "Nope, they canceled the rest of the afternoon. You're the cop. They want you."
Wow, that's amazing.
Well, Gavin, you have no idea, right? Or maybe you do. I don't know, but that doesn't happen, right? And I mean, that's the brass ring. 99 times out of 100 auditions, thanks, but no thanks. Uh, People have an idea of what they want, a certain look, certain voice, that kind of thing. If you want a mafia guy, you want someone. I mean, even though it's a cliche and a typecast, you probably want someone who looks a bit Italian, maybe has really dark hair that they can slick back a bit, because that's what people are used to seeing. Fair or not, that's what people tend to think of when they think of the mafia, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same for all that stuff. That's why they're called stereotypes. But I'm standing there and I'm going, "Really?" And in my mind, I'm going, "Holy shit, brass ring!" Like I just thought, wow, and that was cool. Now, all that said, it was a 1 day gig, right? A few lines, and sort of a one and done, as we say, right? But I showed up on the day and we did it and everything, and that was the first season. That one
Yeah.
episode where the boys had all the car parts in the back of a truck, and Ricky's going, "Well, no, 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 it's officers, it's a test. We're part of such and such in the department. We want to make sure that you're okay, that you're doing your job, and blah blah blah." And of course, that's the gag, right? That's the hook. It's like, let's suck in the cops again, see what
Yeah.
we can get away with. And so I'm standing there and go, "Yeah, okay, it's a certain department here, and yeah, that's a, you know, we got to let them go. They're actually on the force. They're doing this." I can't remember the lines. Obviously, that was back in 2020, 21, something
I
like
think
that.
you say something like, "They've got us again. They've
Yeah,
got us
something.
again with this."
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, and and so they get away with it, right? And I thought, okay, that's it. That's fine. And that was it for season one.
Yeah.
And then they called me back in season two to do some stuff, and I'm thinking, okay, this is nice. And then they called me in season, and they just kept calling me back. And you want to talk about a happy actor. And I actually there were a few people that were upset with me in the acting community. Uh, Not too many, I don't think, but I did encounter one fellow, and he was upset because he said, "I took theater for 2 years at university, right? And I'm trying to make a living at this. This is my calling. You've got my job."
Oh,
And you
I've
probably
heard
have,
that before as well.
and
It's
you
yeah,
probably have no training or anything at all. And I didn't think about it too much. I basically said, well, sorry, typical Canadian, right? Sorry. Um, but I can't help it. I'm what they wanted, and I'm
exactly.
what and I'm what they got.
Yeah, they picked
Um,
you because you're good. You were good at what they wanted, so that was
well,
it.
yeah, and they kept bringing me back, but years later, I had found out, whether it's true or not. It probably is. I don't see why it wouldn't be, but they had actually cast the cop. The cop had auditioned, they'd filmed the episodes and everything, and they sent the tapes to Toronto to the producers at Showcase. Um, and everything was good, came back, but the producers said, we need a different cop. And the story I was told was, and I knew the actor who did this. I didn't know he got the part at the time, but they said, he's too pretty. And I kind of went, what? And I knew the fellow. I think he lives in British Columbia now, but he was also a model as well as an actor. So yeah, he was a really good looking guy, right? 6 foot, 6'1", uh, nice and slim, good hair, all that stuff. And I said, well, that's kind of interesting. And it's like, well, they needed someone that looked like they had a few years on them, right? And I went, oh, so basically someone who looks like they got hit by a truck. I kind of laughed a bit, and I went, well, I've looked like this since I was 13. So there you go. I mean, the only difference now is less hair and it's all gray. But no, like, I found, you hear little stories here and there, and I found that one pretty interesting. Like I say, is it true? I mean, I can't verify it. And in
Yeah,
this business is smoke and mirrors and everything, right? So who
it is.
knows?
Yeah,
But at the end of the day, I was really happy to get the gig, and kept developing the character. And there were two things that let me know that the character was working. After a few seasons, people would come up to me and they go, "Oh, you're the cop on Trailer Park Boys." And I thought, first time I heard that, I went, okay, I'm not a cop on Trailer Park Boys, I'm the cop. So there was an identification there. People were starting to get used to seeing me, and they were thinking of me as a regular
yeah.
on the force. And I thought, this is a good thing. And this one is really weird. I don't. This one, it'll go out on your podcast and everything, Gavin. But not too many people know about this one. Uh, I was driving a tractor trailer at the time, transcontinental, right? Because the shooting season is only so long, and I wasn't one of the boys. I wasn't a lead character, so we're not talking about 20 or 30 days of shooting here for me.
Yeah.
So I'd be out in the big truck, and I'd be going all over North America, and I'd be gone 30 days at a time, living in the truck. So I've been to every province in Canada, 47 of the 48 contiguous U.S. states, and it didn't matter, rain, snow, didn't matter, right? I had just finished bringing a load of hatchery eggs from Arkansas and brought them up into Blumenort, uh, Manitoba, which is just south of Winnipeg. And then I drove the Yellowhead Trail up to Edmonton and got rid of the rest of the eggs. And what I remember is that it was about 45 below zero in February, and I could lean over. There was a strong wind. I could lean over to the passenger side of the truck and see my breath. But when I was on the driver's side, the sweat was pouring off my left side because I had the heater on full. The wind was that
Wow.
strong and it was so cold. But I got it to Edmonton. And then what I did is I rolled empty down to Calgary. And the idea was I was going to pick up another load of beef, I think. Yeah, it was beef at the Cargill meat plant there, and then take it into the States, into Buffalo, New York. But I had a day layover. Now it's 2 in the afternoon on a February. It is brass monkey cold. It is bad, right? And and it's sunny though. It's, Petro Canada truck stop on the east side of Calgary, outside a little wee bit. And there's nobody there. I mean, I don't know what it's like now. I haven't driven the big trucks for a few years now, a couple of decades, I guess. I just drive the motor coach now. But it you usually rolled in at night. You fueled, you grabbed your supper, maybe you caught a few hours and stuff, right? 2 in the afternoon on a Tuesday in February, there's nothing there. But I thought I'd do the usual, lock up the rig, go in and see what's there, see what they got. So I walk into this truck stop, not a real big one, but big enough. And there's always a driver's lounge. So I walk in there and it's dark. The curtains are closed. There's a TV sitting in the corner and everything. So I'm in the doorway and I'm looking, and there's one guy there, and he's in the chaise lounge. He's got his arms up on the arms of the chair, and he's got his trucker's cap, and it's slouched, and he's staring at the as the stomach turns or whatever soap opera is on, and he glances up and he goes, "Oh, Officer Green, like your work," and then he turns back to the TV. And I'm like, what did I just hear? Like, this is season 3, maybe, right?
Yeah,
And,
early
and you
days.
got to realize, like a lot of television shows and everything else, and especially something that eventually became cultish, but was, pretty out there. It takes a while for people to like it or let it grow on them or get a following, right? And the way we were doing this, season 1, people still had their day jobs. They had no money.
Yeah.
Showcase took a chance on them and gave them 6 episodes or something like that. They took a chance on a second season, and it worked out. It was better, right? A little better. So, it grows, But really, I didn't think anybody was watching this show. Uh, uh, Even there were people that were against it, like seriously against it. They didn't like it. They didn't think it would go anywhere. Obviously the major networks turned it all down. uh, every second word would have been bleeped out anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm standing there, and this guy with the trucker's cap, and it's dark in there, and he goes, "Hey, Officer Green, like your work." And I was stunned, and I went, "Seriously, you know who I am?" He goes, "Well, yeah, you're the cop on Trailer Park Boys, aren't you?" And I went, "Yeah, yeah, I do that gig." And he goes, "Yeah, I like your stuff. Keep it up, man." And like, what are the odds? Think about this. What are the odds? 2 in the afternoon on a Tuesday in the middle of February, 40 below outside, no other trucks. My truck is out in the parking lot pretty much by itself, looking all lonely. And I just go in to check this out and see if they got showers and a bit of food. And that happens. So right then,
So random.
I'm thinking, okay, the boys have something here. The guys, the guys have caught on to something. Uh, and they always say, and I agree, the trailer park and everyone in it, it's like a big family. It
Yeah.
really is, right? And it's a dysfunctional family.
Yeah. Extremely.
Yeah, we just a tad, but it's still a family. At the end of the day, that show, if you can see between the lines in that, it's actually a show about a lot of love.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
it really is. The
Jonathan
people in
Torrance
there,
says exactly the same thing.
yeah, because they argue, they curse, they spit, they throw things at each other. If you're Ray, we'll beat you with baseball bats in a wheelchair.
Well, they just protect everyone. Like, if there's an outsider that comes into the park, everyone
Well,
just
that's it,
groups
right?
together and
You're right. It's community,
yeah.
and it's a community that even if they don't always all get along, or there's a bunch of crap going on, uh, when push comes to shove, they stand up for each other. It's like,
Yeah.
no, 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 you can't do that. Who are you anyway, right? Kind of
Yeah.
thing. But
Always.
if
Yeah.
you're a good person, they'll welcome you in. You become part of the
Yeah.
community, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I've had a lot of fun over the years, and I think most people that have been on the show have had fun. It's obviously changed season to season. It's evolved. Uh, Went away from the mockumentary style for a season. People didn't like it as much. Went back to the mockumentary. People thought, yeah, all right, we're back on track now. And then, it turned to animation for a few years. I did a bit of voiceover as Officer Green. I mean, that was great for me because they gave me my hair back, right?
Oh, yeah.
As a cartoon, man, I got hair again, and I'm younger.
There you go. Yeah.
Just as stupid a cop as I always was, but still. Uh, and then that sort of a lot of us, let's face it, we thought it was over, right?
Yeah.
And then last year, we're going to do season 13. Um, would you be interested? Hell yes. You
Yeah,
don't even have to finish the sentence. Would I be
exactly.
interested?
So
Sure,
you
I
are
would.
obviously you're in season 13. I know you can't talk about what happens in it, but you are in it then.
I am in it. Yes.
Okay.
No, I can't give away plot lines or anything like that.
I
Really.
actually I did a day's I know Mike Smith quite well. He's a friend of mine, and I got to
Oh
do
yeah.
a day's filming on season 13. So I know a little bit about what happens, which I've not told anyone. But
Well,
it looks like it's going to be a loaded season.
we kind of can't, right, Gavin? I mean, as
Yeah,
you don't want to telegraph the ideas or what's going on in the show because
yeah,
that's a spoiler. No spoilers, right? But at the same time, I feel comfortable saying uh, the shit's going to hit the fan.
yeah,
No, it's classic Trailer Park Boys, right? You want a little bit of chaos? Welcome to our world.
yeah,
And
exactly.
I had a whole hell of a lot of fun doing this year's stuff.
I think that
I
there was
think people are going to love it. I think people are going to really really like it.
I hope so, and I think that like obviously there was a lot of like concern over whether there was even a show left to be made when John Dunsworth passed away, obviously, and even the boys themselves felt like that. Like, where do we go with this now? He was such like a crucial part of everything. And I think that they've probably done it. I mean, obviously I haven't seen it yet, but from what I hear, it's going to
Very
be amazing.
creative
So
folks you're talking about here, Gavin.
yeah,
And if there's a way to continue and to make it work,
yeah,
uh, these are the people that are going to do it. They're going to
yeah,
figure it
for
out.
sure. Yeah,
And so, like I said, I think that without going any further than that, really, I think the fans are going to be really, really happy
yeah,
with what has been created,
yeah,
and to keep it going. Because John, let's face it, John was very much a lot of the glue that held the show together. And it's like any main character, and John was fantastic. Uh, any main character on any show, not just Trailer Park Boys. Uh, After a while, you just sort of make these assumptions. You start taking for granted that they're always going to be there, right?
yeah,
And then suddenly, and in the worst possible way in this case, they aren't. And that's when you start realizing how important certain people or certain characters are to a show, a movie, whatever you want to talk about, right? In real life, certain people, when they're gone, that's when you realize how important they were to you, and that they were the glue that held things together in a lot of ways.
definitely.
So to say it was devastating, huh? Yeah, understatement of the friggin' century there, I gotta say.
Yeah,
Uh, and yeah, I like a lot of people, including probably the boys. Where do we go from here?
yeah.
Where do we go from here? Well, you're going to see.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah. So, what was it? I've got to ask you as well. What was it like working with John Dunsworth? I mean, I was fortunate enough to be in his presence a few times. I remember one time in particular, we were on a flight coming back from the UK, and the boys were on that flight with John and with Pat,
Oh
who were
yeah.
coming back from doing a
Oh,
tour.
so
And
they did a tour over in the UK of it.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. And while we're back, we were in Halifax Airport, literally lining up, ready to go through, customs to come back in. And John is like acting like Mr. Leahy in front of everyone. He's just like acting drunk. He's falling over the little guardrails you've got,
Couldn't
and he
do
didn't
that
he,
now.
he didn't know, no, no, and he didn't know who I was. He didn't know that I was a fan. He was just performing. He always
Yeah.
seemed to be performing all the time. So what was it
Yeah.
like working with him on set?
Well, uh, John and I got along really well. Okay. Uh, when I first moved to Nova Scotia back in the 90s, and like I said earlier in our little podcast here, that he, in our conversation, he started FilmWorks, and he started, trying to get people into the acting community because it was growing and people were needed. And so I would do a lot of auditions at his shop. The building's gone now. It was knocked down years ago, but it's down by. It was near an old tavern called the. Oh, I can't think of the name of it now. I was probably too drunk. It was the Lighthouse Tavern, and I'd go in and he'd film auditions and this and that, and he would help. He would help any actor. and say, okay, try it this way. And, okay, that's too acty. Try it, just try and be natural. Take a breath, and everything. And then, I remember he offered a 1 day course, a workshop. And I thought, well, okay. I go, well, how much? And I was used to, some things because I took a couple of workshops over the years back in Toronto and that. And I'm thinking, how many hundred is this going to be? And he goes, oh, $10. I looked at him and I went, $10. Yeah, I'm doing it this weekend upstairs at such and such. Uh, and a few people have already signed up, and we're just going to spend part of a day together and just work on stuff. Here's my tenner. We're good.
Yeah,
Here it
yeah,
is. Um, and it was wonderful because that's what we did. Myself, the other participants, and John just sat there and he would make suggestions and he would talk about his experiences a bit, which was important. And and a lot of what he did, it wasn't so much taking the mystique away, but it was building your confidence. It was taking the nervousness and the fear away. Quite frankly, I don't have a good history with auditions, and I probably still don't. Uh, I would freeze up a lot of times. The audition thing as it is now versus then, it's a double-edged sword. Back then, it was live auditions. A production company would come in, rent a hotel room, maybe at the Westin or something. And when you were up, you were up. Okay. And they might let you do a second take. Might. But you had to be on. You had to have your lines and you had to know what you were doing. And that's pressure. And that could make, and sometimes, not only the producers, there'd be 5, 6, 7 people sitting there. And sometimes you'd audition with one of the leads, one of the principal characters. I remember a long time ago when Tom Selleck came here and started the Jesse Stone series. And I ended up reading with him. And he's a nice man. I got to know him because I did some stand-in work on that series over the years that it was here.
Oh,
But at the
nice.
time I didn't know, and I'm thinking, holy crap, it's Magnum PI. and like I said, he was nice, but Tom Selleck is also he can be an imposing figure. He's 6'4", right? And
Yeah,
and obviously very well known, very famous. So you either did okay or you didn't. The way it's done now, you're at home or somewhere, maybe you have a little home studio. You can do as many takes as you want until you've got something that you really want the casting directors to see.
yeah,
That's good. The disadvantage to that is you're not in person with them and they don't have an opportunity to say, okay, that was nice, but try it this way instead. So they're not always going to have an opportunity to see any versality
yeah.
or your
It is
ability to
different.
deliver something, a variation on the character kind of thing, right? But no, it's John. We did that little workshop, and then I kept going for auditions and everything. And Sheila Lane, who unfortunately has also since passed away, she used to tape them, and then she took over FilmWorks when John decided to sell the business, sell his business, and get out of that. Right, but things were moving along pretty good clip there for a while, and with John. I remember doing a charity thing with him for the Schizophrenic Society on a golf course and stuff. And yeah, he could turn it on and off just like that. And the
Yeah,
thing you mentioned, him acting drunk on the aircraft, to watch him, Clattenburg and other directors later on when things changed a little bit, they could say, okay, John, that's great. Back it off 10%. And he would be literally 10% less drunk. Oh, actually, you know what? I think we prefer you drunk. Go back, ramp it up 20% instead. Go a little bit past what you were doing earlier. And sure enough, okay, and this is a guy who didn't drink.
yeah.
Okay.
It's amazing.
So now John could be. I'm not saying anything out of turn here. He's like any actor. We're all friggin' half nuts, Gavin. Okay, we really are. I mean, we live in a fan. We work in a smoke and mirrors environment, creating things. We're all pretty creative people, but a lot of it's in our head, right? And a lot of it, and you got to try and get that out of your head and through your body and out.
Yeah.
into the real world, into the space.
Yeah.
And so, we're not everyone, I'm generalizing, but a lot of us tend to be a little paranoid, a little self-conscious, and this and that. And you gotta push past that kind of thing, right? And that's not easy to do, a lot for many people. But if you want to play, right, you
Yeah.
better figure it out. So in that regard, John was a very mercurial individual. Um, you know, up, happy, but other times not so happy, not mad or down or anything like that I've ever really seen. Uh, but he was very particular about his craft, and I remember I had one episode with him where I was given the wrong script. They had updated it a couple of times, but they never sent me the updates. And that can happen. It's not nobody's fault, really. It's just it slipped through the cracks. So
Yeah.
I show up on the morning that we're going to shoot this scene, and we like to run our lines. And with Trailer Park Boys, of course, it's a very unique show where there can be ad lib. You can go off on tangents here and there. If it's not working, they just stop and we try it again. We try different things. Sometimes something will look really funny on, like, you read it and you're laughing, like in a book or something, and then you do it and it's not funny. It just
Yeah.
falls, and
Didn't
vice
work. Yeah.
versa. So we were trying to do this thing, and we're running these lines, and it was more than just John and myself. I think Pat might have been there, and we're doing this, and I start doing my lines, and John is like, "Those aren't the lines," and I went, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You're supposed to know your lines. Don't you know your lines?" I said, "Well, I do," and I said, "Right here, here's the script," and he looks and goes, "Oh, that's crap. That's not the lines." And he was upset, right? And I said, "Well, let's give me can we have the real lines, please?" And it was just, they had been cut back a bit and a few little changes here and there. And I said, "Well, I need 5 or 10 minutes. I gotta, try and absorb this now."
Yeah.
And that was the beauty of Trailer Park, where if I didn't get it exactly word for word, this isn't Star Trek. You're not going to get fired.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I gave it a go and everything. And we tried it a few times. And of course, I think everybody was a little frustrated. And I was kind of on edge and nervous, because I'm thinking, holy crap, what happened? And I was about probably 3 scripts behind. Um, it wasn't the end of the world, Gavin, but it was challenging, and
Yeah.
for everyone, not just me, because we wanted the scene to go. We wanted it, and we had to. We were filming. We had to do it. And then I said, "Okay, all right, let's just give it a go." And I looked at them and I said, "Guys, I'm gonna have to depend on you a little bit here, to help me through this thing, because." And John kind of, he didn't lose it, but he was pretty mad. He goes, "You're supposed to be prepared. You're supposed to know this." And I looked and I just kind of went, "I'll do what I can, right? I'll do what I can." And we
Yeah.
did it, and we got through it. And I think back to that, and I'm thinking, you know what? John had a bad day. That's all it was.
Yeah. We
It,
all have
it
them.
wasn't necessarily, people, some actors would have taken that as personal, a personal attack. I kind of looked at it and I went, maybe 1%, because the
Yeah.
facts are the facts. I didn't have the proper script. I didn't have my lines, my proper lines. And uh, we had to get this done. And
Yeah.
because John was a consummate professional, always. And his expectation, and I remember him saying that in his workshop, and when at audition at Filmworks and everything like that, arrive prepared. Be prepared 6 ways to next Saturday, or whatever cliche you want to use, and have some alternatives. Have, do it be ready to do it a few different ways. And
Yeah.
I always paid close attention to that, because to a large degree, John Dunsworth is one of the reasons that I've been able to have the bit of success I've had in the market here, as an actor. So I mean, there's always going to be a debt of gratitude to him for that,
Yeah.
and to everyone else in every production I've ever worked on. This is the thing, right? You're not working against each other; you're working with each other. And the beauty
Yeah.
of being on the set is, it's not. I don't know how to describe it. everybody's in a protected environment of sorts, which means we can leave our egos at the door if we choose,
Yeah.
and we can help each other without fear. Because let's face it, you've already been cast in the part. You got the job, man. You got the gig.
Yeah.
So now
Hardest bit's done.
just be ready, know your lines and stuff, and get out there. And that's a lot of what John Dunsworth was like. He knew his lines, he was prepared, and his expectation was that everyone else would be too. And if you weren't, you felt bad, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody wants to show up on a set unprepared. That's just, you read about that crap in the tabloids, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, who was
Yeah,
it?
for sure.
Marlon Brando was famous for not showing up on time. Um,
Yeah.
and some other really high profile and very talented people in the entertainment business.
Yeah.
They'd overdo it the night before, and then they'd show up, and they could barely stand.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
That's not
I've
good.
never agreed much with that. I say the rap party is where you start falling down or
Yeah,
whatever, right?
exactly. Yeah.
Because now you're the pressure's gone.
Yeah. So I
Uh,
got to ask you as well. I'm curious about your name. First of all, is your surname actually Green?
oh yeah,
Okay,
that's
so
my name.
I think you're the only character. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you're the only character whose first and second name is the same in real life.
That
I don't
could
think there's
well
anyone
be
else.
because I mean you had Sarah, but it was Sarah Dunsworth,
Yeah, and it was
right?
just Sarah and just
It was
Lucy. There
just
was
it
no
was just
mention of a
Sarah. That's
surname, and
right. And
so
Lucy
so
Decatur was
why?
just
How
Lucy.
did you how did you end up having your full name? I don't know where
You
that
know
came from.
what? That first day and I first showed up and everything like that, they didn't know what to call me because it was just a few lines, day job, right? And and I was like, if you look carefully, here's a little gimme. They edited it out in post. They called me Officer Tim in that first
Ah, okay.
episode, the first because the name tag I
Ah,
think was Tim something.
yeah,
I said, can we call you that? Yeah, sure, whatever. And see, without knowing how long the show was going to last, if it was even going to get out of the first season and everything like that, right? I think it was hard, and you had a lot. They brought a lot of different day players in and stuff. Now in the second season, like, what are we gonna? Can we just use your name? I'm, sure, I don't care. Okay, so what? Officer Green, George, Officer George. Just use my name. I don't care what you do, because I didn't, right?
yeah,
A lot of characters, it was their names, their real names. Like I said, Lucy, Sarah. Uh, those are the two that come to mind right away. So yeah, they did that, and it stuck. It just stuck. You
yeah.
know, Officer Green, dumbest cop in Sunnyvale. That's your service.
Yeah, and I honestly do think it's the only one where you met with the surname is mentioned as well. Like
It
because
it it,
you've
it
got
could be.
Corey and like that's and then you've got Jacob, the same names, but the surname's never mentioned. Yours is the
Yeah,
only one.
and that could very well be. I've never thought about it actually,
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, obviously they use both my first and last real names, so
yeah,
that's probably the answer. I don't know.
yeah. That's hilarious. So I got one of my final questions is, if you were brought into the writers' room, if they said, George, come on in, we don't know where to go with George. We want your opinion. What would, off the top of your head, if you could take the character anywhere, where would you take him? And now that might be difficult to answer because you obviously know what happens in season 13. But
Well,
with
no,
that
but I don't. But
aside,
I don't even have to think of season 13. Honestly, I mean,
okay,
when we're on a couple of things I can think of when we're on set. I guess first thing you got to realize is you can only have so many cooks, right?
yeah,
I mean, if you had everybody right, that doesn't work. There's too many conflicting ideas.
yeah,
Uh, you have actors that will, and it's not just Trailer Park Boys. They'll direct an episode once in a while of a show, right? Or they will write an episode or part of an episode, and that's fine if it's well written and passes the editing and all that other stuff. Then yeah, they'll use it. With Trailer Park Boys being as unique as it is, as I mentioned earlier, we would run through stuff, right? And if it wasn't funny or it wasn't working, we'd get together on set in a room, whatever, and we'd hash it out. We'd start saying, and Mike Clattenburg and the directors and producers today, they're very good about this stuff. They go, okay, look, Uh, Anybody got any ideas? You know, and it's like I tend to be quiet on set. I don't tend to. I mean, not when like when the cameras are rolling or with the input and stuff. Sure, I have ideas. Everybody has ideas. I'll throw an idea out there now and then, uh, but a lot of those things they come down to just changing a line or two, changing the delivery, maybe losing some lines, right? Maybe adding some. Uh, the whole idea it's collaborative, and whatever works best is what we're gonna film. That's what we're gonna tape. Uh, so, have I had any ideas over the years? I've floated things out there jokingly. Like I don't know if you remember the episode with the driveway that was paved with hash.
Yeah.
Well, I had an idea. I go, if you're gonna change up the character, if you're gonna break out the character, or or if George Green is not going to be on the force anymore, if that's what you're thinking or something, because it's always been, how are we going to go? We're going to keep going with them, are we not? And that's the same with some characters, right? There was a season where you didn't see me, but Officer Erica they were all mentioning my name through the whole season. So I was
Yeah.
still very much part of the show, but I wasn't, right? And so my thinking at least, and I heard things that it was possible that they might have been because Officer Erica was Julian's girlfriend, and that Officer Green might not be needed anymore, right? That's a real possibility. At the end, uh, McDonald was her last name. I wish I could remember her first name. I can't. But she did a really damn good job. She really did. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, I'm done. Because there's a real connection there now with Julian and her and all this stuff. Uh, and they decided to bring me back anyway, the next season and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know, whatever I was doing and still do, they like it. So
Yeah.
that
Great.
hash driveway episode, I floated it out there off scene, and then I go, you know what? How about if we have Officer Green doing hot knives on that driveway? Get down there and down and dirty on my hands and knees with a couple of really red hot butter knives,
Yeah.
rip a chunk off that driveway and start doing it, right? And it got a couple of chuckles. Was like, oh yeah, well, yeah, we'll think about that. But the way they said it, I knew it wasn't going to happen, right?
It's funny because I think that's
But
definitely something George would do now because he's gone more
oh yeah,
corrupt now.
oh wow, hell, I mean, come on, look, even my partner did me in, right, in season 12. Put the
Yeah.
bag of dope in the trunk, set me up.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that was bad. It's, got my face against the car window, swearing and cursing and spit going everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, by that point, I mean, think of when they made me the chief of police that season, right?
Oh yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no corruption there. God, I had so much fun with that. I mean, that's just throwing a bottle of Jack Daniels at the door in the office and
That's
stuff.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just, they gave me a lot of latitude, but did they ruin me? I guess they did.
Yeah.
And Chief Green really, really thought quite highly of himself. Let's face it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Power went straight to
that's
his
how
head. Yeah.
that's how I had to play that. Right? It's like, I'm not a stupid cop. I'm the smartest cop, and that's the line. That's the theme through all of the episodes. Anyway, Officer Green, Chief Green, whoever, really does think he's the smartest cop on the force.
Yeah.
He thinks it's the best. He thinks he's the best cop ever,
Yeah.
and he's obviously not.
Yeah.
and he doesn't, and the character, he doesn't seem to see a whole lot of difference between twisting things his way, whether it's legal or not, versus just trying to arrest everybody else because they're bad and he's not.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And the only way those kinds of things work is like, I play the character straight. I don't doubt myself for a second as Officer Green.
No.
You can't, because otherwise it doesn't work. I mean, it just
Exactly.
wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So yeah, as Officer Green, damn right I'm the best cop on the force.
Yeah. You gotta be.
Damn right I'm the smartest person in the park and everything else, right? It's just so and and the interaction between Jim and I and the other characters and everything. It just when it clicks, it's magic, right? When it
Yeah.
happens, it's just
I
magic.
loved it. You always like you talk down to Leahy. You'd always talk down to him. You'd always be above him,
Yeah.
and you'd be talking down. You need evidence, but you never seem to have the evidence. Key thing, like you talk right
18
down to
times
him.
I've been here, Jim, and 18 times, what do you got? Nothing. You're
Yeah.
always seeming to miss that crucial little thing called evidence. George, no, listen to me, Jim. Do you know
Yeah.
what a shit wolf is? You know,
Yeah.
never,
Yeah.
ever cry shit wolf, right?
My
That was a fun episode for sure.
one of the
But
best. Yeah.
the whole thing is just it's a joy to do. And the
Yeah.
people I work with on that, every single one of them. I mean, we got each other's backs.
Definitely. Yeah.
We're having fun. We always wanted to keep having fun, but we also want to deliver something that makes people laugh,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. For sure.
that
Yeah.
makes people laugh. Like I'll tell you, I'll share with you among the greatest compliments I've ever gotten as Officer Green on that show, because I still driving the big bus, like the tour bus. I still do that in the summers, but when I would take, I was one of these drivers that was willing to take people to concerts. So I, went up to the Mudfest up in Moncton there, and AC/DC and all these things. I took people to Paul McCartney when they were there. I like the concerts myself, right?
Yeah.
And of course, there's always a very strong police presence at these things. And real police officers pay me the highest compliment ever. They would come up to me and say, You're Officer Green from Trailer Park Boys, aren't you? And I'd go, Yeah, I am. They go, Love the show, man. It's great. And look, can I get a selfie with you? And I'm like, Yeah, sure. Because they aren't the only people that ask for that, right? Or get
Yeah.
an
Yeah. Yeah.
autograph or something. And I never turn any of that down, and I'll tell you why. Little sidebar here. No fans, no show.
Yeah. No, it's
It's
true.
as
Yeah.
simple as that. I have the highest regard and respect for the fans, because without them, there's nothing. There's
Yeah.
absolutely nothing. So I can't ever remember turning anyone down if they asked me a question or anything like that. But these police officers, after a while, I was up in Moncton at the University de Moncton, which my French, I can't speak French, so that was really bad. But anyway, uh, and I asked one of these police officers, because they recognized me and wanted to talk and all this other. I said, so, like, you're not the only one to do this. Police forces, the RCMP, city police, they always ask me these questions, and they say, love the show, love your character, and everything else. And I go, there's got to be something there that I'm just not aware of. Uh, and the police officer, he goes, well, you're like one of us. And I went, well, okay, but I just go, no, no, no. It does not look at all like you're acting. Now that is a high compliment. I mean, that is
It
it.
is. I
Right?
don't know what it says about the police force, though.
Well, here's the thing. We kept talking, and I go, so are you telling me that you guys have to deal with characters like what my character does on the show and everything? And every single police officer I ever asked that after that, they go, oh, are you kidding? Worse, worse.
Wes, jeez.
And I went, well, I mean, how bad can it be? They go, listen, these criminals at that level, right? These are not white collar criminals. uh, they all invariably believe they are smarter than everyone else,
Yeah.
and that they will not ever, ever get caught because the police are too stupid to catch them. And I'm looking at them, I'm going, seriously? They go, oh, you have no friggin' idea. And then what they say when you do catch them, and the excuses they make and everything, you just kind of look and go, how dumb is this? Like, the situation and everything, and
Yeah.
how can they possibly believe that I'm going to believe what they're saying? I mean, they could be standing there with the goods in their hands, and they're in denial. They still
Yeah.
don't think that they're doing
Try and
anything
talk
wrong or
themselves
anything
out of it.
bad and
Yeah.
stuff. And I'm like, wow, wow. But you're speaking of the police, and one of the one of the fun things, one of the good ones was end of end of season 4, maybe. We did a night shoot on Ochterlony Street in Dartmouth, and it was the one with the Leahy in a dress with the two
Oh yeah, yeah,
handguns,
yeah, yeah.
and the dead ex van is
All
on
the
its
lasers
side
pointing at him,
burning
and yeah,
everything, all that stuff, right? And some of the stuff they used to ask us to do, I mean, honestly, they probably should have been stunts. Low budget show, right? You do what you got to do.
yeah,
So some of the stuff with those cop cars, because those were real cop cars, but they were retired cop cars. They had like
yeah,
500,000 kilometers on them or something, and interiors were pretty rough and this and that. But they ran right. They're set cars, uh, but yeah, they do things like, okay, George, we want you to hide here, and when you hear on the walkie, go, 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 lights, sirens, come out of the blind turn. Try not to kill all the pedestrians because we're not telling you they're there, that you're coming, and we want you to stop right here, kind of thing, right? And we would just do that stuff, and it was fine, right? We had, like I said, fun. But on that particular one, Mike took me over, and there was a vacant storefront there, and he goes, "Okay, so tonight we have your SWAT team or ERT team," and I go, "Okay." He goes, "So I'm going to introduce you to the guys here," and and he walks me in, and there's a dozen of these tactical guys. They're the real deal. They're on the Halifax force, right? They were. And they got all their gear, like their weapons, their vests, they're gacked up. And they're on the floor because it was a vacant storefront, and they're all just leaning against the wall, resting easy, right? And they're staring at me. And I'm looking, I said, these guys spend hours a day in the gym. They're super fit, they rappel, and they basically practice how to kill people if they have to, right?
yeah,
These are serious, serious guys and gals. And they're all leaning there, and they're not saying a friggin' word. They're just staring at me, right? And Clattenburg goes something to this effect. He goes, okay, everybody, this is Officer Green, and he's in charge. He's your boss. And and they're all looking at me, right? And Clattenburg didn't forewarn me of this or anything. And I thought, okay, let's become Officer Green. Here I am. So I looked at them and I go, exactly what he said. I'm in charge. You listen to me. Are we clear on that kind of thing, right? Like this
yeah,
hardcore delivery. Are we good on this, gentlemen? Sir, yes, sir. Good. So let's not screw the pooch here. What I say goes, and when I say do it, we do it. Right? Yes, sir. Good. Team is ready. Just something like that, right? And it was lovely. They were on board. They were on board, right? And any one of them could have probably threw me out the plate glass window and halfway across the road without breaking a sweat, right?
yeah, yeah,
And again, we had a wonderful time. Now these guys, they were up on the roofs. They had pretending to have sniper rifles, but they had laser pointers. If you remember the scene,
yeah.
Ricky had all these red dots
They're
all
all
over,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And this was the ERT team, right? But it was the real deal. It was Halifax's finest, right?
yeah,
And they had a good time. Like we all had a good time. But it
yeah,
was so fantastic that they bought into it. They played along, for lack of a better term, and said, "Yeah, we're on your side, buddy. Everyone, we're going to do this for you. We're going to give you our best," and they did. So it's again, I don't know. I
that's
honestly
so
don't know
cool.
how police officers do what they do.
Yeah.
I
Oh yeah, no,
really,
massive respect to them. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, absolutely. I was told that the worst calls tend to be the
yeah,
domestic violence,
yeah, yeah. I
because
imagine.
apparently that's very, very volatile, and I can believe that
Oh yeah, for
because
sure.
usually there's drugs or alcohol involved or something. There's a lot of anger, a
Exactly.
lot
Yeah,
of emotions, right?
yeah,
And don't send me into it, thank you.
yeah,
I wouldn't.
yeah,
I wouldn't want to do it. It's the same with the military and that. Uh, People uh, when I was selling real estate and stuff, and sometimes people would, they criticize uh, the fact that our government helps military and our RCMP with their moves because they get posted, right? They get posted. They might only live in a house for 2 or 3 years. Well, you're gonna lose money when you sell it. You haven't held on to it long enough from that.
Yeah.
So our government will help with certain aspects like legal fees and commission, stuff like that. And I had over the years, every once in a while, I'd have someone say, "That's not fair. It's not right." And I'd just look at them and say, "Okay, um, we're going to send you over to Afghanistan tomorrow. You up for it? What, are you nuts?" Exactly. You willing to take a bullet for your fellow countrymen here? I mean, are you willing to go into a war zone and risk getting shot in the head or whatever? Like just stuff like that. I know that sounds pretty harsh, but that's the reality.
Yeah,
And
exactly. Yeah.
I said, these people sign up for it. They're willing to do it. They've got your back, so you don't have to go out there and face that shit.
Yeah.
And basically, I don't care if someone paid the whole shot for them. I'm on board because I don't have the guts to do that. I just don't. I mean, if I had to, yeah, but I'd be, just a wreck, a friggin' wreck.
Same. Yeah.
And
Exactly
it's
same.
like they're willing to they have my back, my family's back. They're willing to put themselves intentionally in harm's way so my family and I can sleep at night. I have no problem with our government paying and helping them out when they have to buy a house. None whatsoever. So, a little side.
I think that's a good mindset to have for the character you play as well. You've got that much respect for the actual police, so it's like,
oh hell yeah,
it's plays into the character.
Respect enough, but I still don't think I should have to pay attention to the law.
Yeah. Smartest cop on the force.
No, it's a lot of fun.
Definitely.
What's
Well,
that?
listen, George, I said smartest cop on the force.
Oh yeah.
Well, listen, George,
how long is your Zoom call good for here? Because
I was going to say we've been talking for over an hour now, so I am going to wrap it up. But I just wanted to say a massive thank you for doing this. Like hearing those little stories. I mean, as a fan of a huge fan of the show, it's so awesome to hear. So I really do appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, man. It's been amazing.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said a fan of the show because Gavin, because it's everybody that's involved in that and a lot of people behind the scenes, the crew,
Definitely,
the producers, the finance, all that stuff.
Everyone.
It's a collective effort, and that's what we try to do for the fans. Just
100%,
make it work. So everybody on that show deserves appreciation and credit. In my mind,
couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Yeah, you got some editing to do, buddy.
Yeah, no, I'd say, do you know what? I'm probably just going to leave it all in because it was all really interesting stuff. Like I say, I'm just so grateful that you took the time to come on. And if you are ever, in the Cole Harbour area and you want to go and grab a drink sometime, let's meet up, man. I'd love to meet you in person.
Well, now that I know that you're not that far away,
yeah,
that possibility definitely exists.
Yeah, well,
and like you said, we can't give away season 13, but as I also said, I really think that the fans are going to enjoy what was created for season 13.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, and you know how it is whenever the cops show up, no chaos. Huh?
Yeah, excellent.
It's going to be fun. Thanks for the time, Gavin. I appreciate it. And
thank you, man.
Enjoy. I hope people watching it enjoy it too. My God, but make sure that whoever's watching this, you better get yourself a drink because it's long. You're going to need some time, right?
It's all interesting stuff to the fans, so that's all that matters.
And I was going to say, if I can, to the fans, thank you so much for watching the show for all these years you have, and new fans coming up. I hope you enjoy it too, and. I'm really, really happy to have been able to create the Officer Green character for you to enjoy. If I can get you to laugh, there it is. I'm happy. Yeah. That's all I want. That's all we all want, right? We want you to enjoy the show.
Exactly.
So, cheers.
Cheers, George. Thanks so much.
Okay.
Bye
Bye for now.